Hello everyone, welcome to Meanlife Studies. In this video, we are going to solve one more SQL interview question, and the problem statement is given as implement lag or lead values only for numeric data without using lag or lead window function. So we'll solve this problem with the help of the concept of range of records in window function. And now, so first we'll see how we are going to implement lead and lag values with using those window functions like lead and lag. And then we'll see how we can implement the same without using those window functions. Okay. Let's see how we are going to solve this problem in SSMS. You can see here, this is the given problem statement. Now we are going to implement lead and lag values with help of window functions first, and then we'll see how we can implement those values without using lead and lag values. I mean lag window function for only numeric data. Okay. So now this is the given data I just considered. You can see here having different columns like employee details, ID, name, age, and salary. So now lead and lag our window function will help us to find next and previous values for any responses. For example, this is the current employee. So if you want to find this current employee who joined before, therefore you will be using lag function, lag window function. So in order to find the next responses like who joined next to the current employee, we will be using that is lead window function. Okay. So let's see how we can implement those values first with the help of window function, like that is lead and lag. So now I'm just returning all data. With addition to that, I'm just using lead. Even if you want, you can use first lag. So you have to use like this. This is a window function. So you have to ensure that you have to use overclass. Okay. And then lag, right? So we have used lag. Next lead. Similarly, you have to use the function like this, and you have to add overclass from the given table. Okay. So if I execute this one, that's going to return a few errors. Let's see how it's going to return. So there could be a priority of errors in returning. So you should understand those. So if I execute this now, you can see here, it's returning like the function lag takes between 1 to 3 arguments. So we need to apply at least one, and max of 3 arguments should apply in this lead or lag window function. So first it is returning lag because it is going in this direction, right? So now it is encounter like lag values is lag of, I'm just using employee name. Okay. So you have to pass at least 1 to 3 arguments. Now if I execute this one, you can see here it is asking like the function lag must have an overclass with order by. So you are trying to find lag values of employee names, but in which order you are trying to find, you have to define it. So that is how you have to define it here. Order by, in which direction. Order by will decide in which direction you are going from. Okay. I'm just mentioning order by employee ID. By default, it's ascending order, right? So that's why I'm just leaving it alone. Now you can see here, if I execute this one, then it is asking us to lead value. You can see here, the function lead takes between 1 to 3 arguments. I mean 1 and 3 arguments, but we have not passed any argument. So we have to pass. So similarly here, we are using employee name. I'm just writing down. You can see here, I'm just passing same employee name here also. So we are finding previous and next employee names for the current employee who joined next, right? So now you can see here, I'm just added one argument in lead. Now you can see here again the same error. The function lead must have an over class with order by. So you should have in which direction you are finding the lag values and lead values. So if you are using any ranking function or even this lead and lag values, you have to use order by. Without order by, it won't return anything. You can see here order by. I'm just using employee ID. Okay. Now if I execute this one, you can see here it's returning invalid column name employee ID. Let's see the first column name. There is a mismatching of column name. Okay, it is represented ID. So we have mentioned employee ID, right? So we have to change with ID only. Now you can see here, even if I execute now, that's going to return employee name. That's only name only, right? Not employee name. Okay, now if I execute this one, you can see here it's returned 2 columns. So other than these columns, we have returned 2 more columns. One is representing lag values, another one is representing lead values. Okay, let's change these values as, for example, this is a lag of name, that is previous. Lag will represent previous values and lead represents next values. Okay, so I'm just mentioning previous employee name. Okay, previous emp underscore name. So similarly, lead will represent next employee name. Okay, because we are returning name, right? So lag of name, lead of name. So that's why I'm just mentioning next emp name. Okay. Now if I execute this one, you can see here we have these 2 columns. One is previous employee name, another one is next employee name. So for example, you're going in this direction. because you mentioned that, right? So order by id in ascending order. By default it's ascending order, right? So that is why we have written all lead and lag values on the basis of this order. This is in ascending order, right? So now first employee joined. So you need to understand the people are joined one by one like this in this order. So first employee joined. Who joined first? He's the one. So for this one, is there any other people in this organization before? No, because he's the only one who joined first, right? So that is the reason if you are finding the lag value for this one, that's going to return null because there is no employee before. So that is why for id1, that is Sharath, there is no employee before. That is why it is returning null. Okay. For the same thing for id1, that is Sharath, who joined next? That is Ganesh, that is 2, right? So that is why here we are getting Ganesh. Sorry guys. Now you can see here, next one, Ravi. So for example, here also, at this position, second employee joined. Who joined before to Ganesh? That is first one. That is Sharath. You can see here, previous employee name. So next one, for Ganesh, who joined next? That is Ravi. So you can see here. So that is how we have just returned all previous employee names and all next employee names for the current employee. So you can see here also, at 9, that is Ravi, he is 28, and this value, Shekhar. Now, for this one, you can see here, for Ravi, who joined next one? That is Sharath. But here, why it is returning? Because this is a previous one, right? So that is why it is written previous. For Ravi, who is next? That is Sharath. You can see Sharath, right? So this is how we have just written all previous and next employees on the basis of in this order, right? So you mentioned this order. So even now, if I change this order to descending order, let's see this one. So that's going to return all lead and lag values in this direction. Okay, so now for the first one, who joined first, this is going to return. Okay, and the next, it's going to return next value. So first value, first record will become like this, like descending order. Okay, let's see this one. You can see here, it's returning the first value is this one, and there is no previous employee, so that's why you're getting null. So what is the next employee? That is his, like M. So you can see here. So likewise, you can mention any order you want. So if you observe, this is returning null because of there is no previous employee for this one. Okay, similarly, lag values is returning the first, right? In the lead values, the next values, this is the one who joined last, right? So even if you want to just return in ascending order, you can understand that also, no problem. In ascending order only. Now you can see here in this order we are taking, and this is returning null because of there is no previous employee. For this one, why it is returning null again in next values? Because he's the only one who joined last in this organization. There is no other employee joined. So that is why there is no next employee. That is why it is returning null. Okay. So now if you observe, lead and lag values are expecting like 1, 2, 3 arguments. But now we are passing only one argument, right? So let's see how we can pass next argument. So like I'm just using comma. Now by default, you're finding lead and lag value of only one. If you're not mentioning anything, but that's going to take it as one lead and one lag value by default. So if you want to have any second lead or second lag, you have to mention them. So now if you observe how it's going to return, you can see here, it's returning second lead and second lag values. So for Sharath, who is first lag? There is no other employee. Who is second lag? There is no other employee because it's returning second lag, right? So you can see here it's returning null. For Sharath, there is no second lag, not first lag, that is second lag, second previous employee, right? So now for Ganesh, who is second lag? That is second previous, he's the first previous, there is no second previous, so that's why it is returning null. For Ravi, who is second previous? He's the first previous and he's the second previous. So that's why for Ravi you are getting Sharath. Similarly, you can see here, you can expect null values at the end for next values, right? So for this one, this is the first next. There is no second next. So that's why you're getting null. For this one, there is no second next. So that's why you're getting null value. Okay. So by default, if you're not applying any arguments like other than what you are required, that's going to return only one lead and one lag values. If you want, you can mention lead and lag values like this. So now, if I mention, so by default, those values will be assigned as null. Even if you want to replace with any default values, you can mention them like unknown. Okay. Because we are returning null, sorry, name, right? So that's why I'm just using string unknown. Okay. Now for these values, like wherever there is no employees there, those values will be replaced by null value, sorry, unknown value. That is how we replace with, right? So this is the default value. If there is no existence of second lag or second lead, we will be replacing with this particular default value. You can mention with anyone, okay, anything, okay. So now if you observe, it's returning unknown for the first two record and is returning unknown for the last two records, okay. This is for entire organization we are finding. So you can also use it for this in each and every department also. So in each and every department, you can also find the second lead and second lag values. How we can find with help of partition by. partition by department. Similarly, you can also use it here, partition by department. So now if I execute this one, you can able to see here what you are getting. Invalid column name department. Okay, here name. Okay, that might be. Let's see the column name first. Okay, sorry, there is no department. So even if you have in your data is department, you can use that, right? Okay, since we don't have any department column, I'm not using it. Okay. So now if you observe, these are the values we have written. Even if you want to find the third also, you can use changing of these values. Okay. So this is how we have used lead and lag window function. With help of them, we are finding all previous and next employee details. Even if you want to find lead and lag salaries of each and every employee, you can also find them. Just replace these lead and lag values with, you can see here, I'm just copying it. Now, if I look at here, I'm just returning lead and lag salaries. Okay. Now, if I execute this one, you can see here what you are getting. So this is the first one who joined, and you are getting here. This is not previous employee name. This is a previous employee salary, right? So you can change their column names. So now if I execute this one, that's going to return all previous employee salaries, next employee salary. For Sharath, who joined before, no. So that's why it's returning null. For Sharath, who joined next, that is Ganesh. Ganesh salary is 60,000. So that's why it is returning 60. For Mahendra, who joined before, Shekhar. So Shekhar's salary is 70,000. You can see here, you're getting it, right? For Mahendra, who joined next, Sharath, whose salary is 50,000. So that's why you're getting here next employee salary 50,000. Similarly, for last one, this is the last person who joined before, that is M. M salary is 1 lakh. So that's why you're getting here. Who joined next for S? There is no other employee. So that's why you're getting none, right? So by default, one lead and one lag. Even if you want to replace with any default value, you can mention one, because if you are trying to use direct value, that's going to take next values. So you have to mention one, that's going to represent one lead and one lag, and you have to represent next like default values. It could be anything. Now you can see here, I'm just using one that represent lead or lag one values and replace with default value. Now if I execute this one, you can see here these two values, like previous one, wherever null values are there, those values are replaced with default value. So this is how we are using lead and lag values, right? So here also we can use range of records. How we can do that? So let's see. So while you're finding lead and lag values, shall we use range of records or not? You can observe now. So for example, now how we can take here, if we use rows between one preceding and one following. Okay, and here also I'm mentioning rows between one preceding and one following. So now if I execute this one, you can able to see the error. So what is this error? So lag and lead function must have window function, not here may not have window of frame. So that means while you are finding the ranking values like rank, dense rank, row number, lead and lag, we cannot use range of record, that is window frame, we cannot consider. Okay, so that's why it is facing error. So now you can see here, if I remove this one, like range of record, this will be calling range of records, like we can also call them as window frame that you are finding. Okay, so now if I remove this one, you can see now if I execute this one, that's going to execute. Okay, so while you are finding any ranking function, lead and lag values, you cannot use a range of records. Okay, so now we are going to implement the same values without using lead and lag window function, but we'll be considering those range of records are window frames. Okay, let's see how we can do that. So if you observe, we are finding all previous and next values with help of this lead and lag window function. Okay, so now same thing I'm going to implement. This time I'm going to write directly. Okay, I hope you understood now, right? So directing, you can see here, if I return all details now, so this is the data we have. But this time we can pass, we can apply this range of records finding for lead and lag values only for numeric data, because we are going to use aggregate function is working as window function now, and therefore we'll be using range of records to find lead and lag values. Okay, so now with addition to this one, we are just using sum of, I already told you we are using only for numeric data. Salary, you have to use overclass. So this is how we are making this aggregate function will working as window function by mentioning overclass. In overclass, what we have to mention, so without mentioning anything, it will return, right? Let's see that. Now here we are finding, let's see how it's going to return. You can see here, it's returning a total sum for the entire window, because in overclass, we have not used any partition. Why? If you are not used any partition by, that's going to return for all. So it's going to add all these values, and then that's going to return the value to each record, right? So now if I use order by employee ID, that's going to return sum of salaries in this order. That's just like cumulative total sum, right? So now if I execute this one, that's going to return, you can see here, employee ID, right? This is just employee, not I, only ID, right? So now if you observe, it's going to return cumulative sum of all these values. This is the exact value, right? So now what we have to find? We have to find only the lag values or lead values. So for that reason, we are going to use here range of record or window frame. So now if I use rows between one preceding, that's going to represent one. For example, this is the current employee. So who is previous? There is no. Who is next? This is the one. So that's going to, we are going to represent range of records. That is a range. So if you define one previous to one next, that's going to take previous value, current value, and the next value. That is total of 3 records. Okay. So rows between. So that's why we are taking range, right? Rows between one preceding and one following. So that's going to take one previous, one next, and the current value. Total of 3 records we are taking. You can see here how it's returning. It's returning total sum of values for who's one preceding and up to one next. So that's going to see here 50,000 and this value. There is no previous. So that's why it is returning as 0. Okay, null. Null in the sense aggregate function will ignore null values, right? So it's returning like addition of these two. You can see here. So for the next one, that is 2 Ganesh, who joined before, that is Fun, who joined next Ravi. So it's going to return the sum of these 3. You can see here 50, 60 and 55, total of 165. Right? So this is how we are finding rolling values for the range of records, like just like window frame. Okay, successive of 3 employee details, like 3 employees total salaries. Okay, for now at this position you have to consider previous one, next one, and current one. The sum of these 3, it's going to return for the current record. You can see here. Likewise, okay, this is returning sum of values for previous up to next. So now if I define, we are starting from this previous and up to next. So if you define starting from previous and ending it also from, ending it to there only. So how it's going to return? If you are starting from the same record and you are ending it there only, right? So that is why I'm just removing this one and placing preceding. So if I use like this, that's going to take the range of records from one preceding up to one preceding only. It will be taking only preceding values only, right? So now if I execute this one, you can see here, you're getting null because of you're taking the range of records like one preceding up to one preceding only. For example, you can see here. So you have one preceding record, okay? One current record, next one following record. So now if you observe, this is the current employee at this position, at cursor at this position, this will take it as a current record. And now for this one, who is previous, that's going to take it as previous one. Who is next, that's going to take it as following one. So now if I define like this, one preceding and one following, this is the range rows between this one and this one. That's going to take middle one also, right? So now it's going to take it off one record, current record, and this record. Total of 3 records. If you define like this. Now, if I define the range between one preceding up to one preceding, that's going to taking the starting of this one and ending with itself only. So now if I use like this, that's going to return all previous values of addition of these values, right? So for at this position, it's going to take the previous value and it's going to add that salary only because there is no employee. So that's why it's returning now. At this position, addition of previous employee salary, you can see here only one employee only, right? We are considering only one record. So that's why you can see here. So if you observe all these values, these all are previous employee salaries, right? So now even if you want, you can mention this one, previous employee salary. You can see now you are getting it, right? So because there is no other employee who joined before this one, so that's why we are getting null value. Okay, so now we can implement the same for lead values also. How we can do that? Same sum of salary, but this time order by ID, rows between one following and unfollowing. Okay, so if we define like this, that's going to take next employee salary, right? So here what we are doing, we are starting from this range and we are one following up to one following. So that is how it's going to return all next values only, right? So now if I execute this one, you can see here for employee Sharath, he is the only one who joined because we have defined this order, right? You can also define any order you want. Okay, for Sharath, who joined next, that is Ganesh. Ganesh salary is 60,000. You are getting here, right? For Ravi, who joined next, Sekhar, whose salary is 70,000. You can see here. For this one, you are getting this one. So that is how we are returning all previous salaries and next salaries of the employees. So you can see here, this is the one who joined last because you are going in this direction. You define that in ascending order, right? For this one, there is no other employee. So that's why you're getting null, right? I hope you understood. Even if you want to handle this values, null values, you can also use null handling techniques. Like if is of this null, if this is null, then you are going to replace with, like, see that also. Is null of this one, you can replace with any other values. Okay. I'm just changing with 0. Okay. Now, if I execute this one, you can see here it's changed to 0. So similarly, if you want, you can also change this value, null values, to any value you want. Okay. I hope you understood how we implemented lead and lag values without using lead and lag window function by considering range of records. So if you want to consider the range of records in ranking functions or lead and lag values, you cannot apply. I already shown you, right? What is the error we can expect, right? So we cannot take any window frame while you are applying lead and lag values or ranking function. Okay. I hope you understood. Even if you want second lead or second lag values, how we can do that? We can just change. You can see here, this is resulting. Even if you want a second lead or second lag values, how we can find? So you can just change this limit to second and this to second. So that's going to return second up to second only, right? So here also you can see second, and here you can just change this to second. So if you observe now, we are getting all second lead and lag values. So we change this to default value as 0. So that's why you are getting 0. Okay. Here you can see here you're getting null. Even if you want to update these null values with any default value, you can mention that with help of null handling techniques, right? So this is how, without using lead and lag window function, we can implement any previous values and next values for any responses, right? I hope you understood.